On this episode of Cape Media News, an overpass in West Barnstable named in honor of first responders. Coyote advocates speak out in Yarmouth. We visit the Chatham Marconi Maritime Center. They have a brand new exhibit called Chatham, Heard Round the World. And it's Bay State Bike Week. These stories and more, this is Cape Media News. This is Cape Media News, your local authentic newscast for Cape Cod. I'm Sarah Colvin. We have a great show for you today. We'll take you inside a fascinating new exhibit at the Chatham Marconi Maritime Center. We'll show you scenes from the renaming of the Route 6 overpass in West Barnstable, and we'll talk to local bike advocates at a breakfast held this morning in Hyannis. I'm Sarah Colvin. Thank you so much for tuning in. Well, our first responders are here for us around the clock, and now a permanent reminder of their dedication is in place in West Barnstable. A renaming ceremony for that overpass was held this past Tuesday. Local lawmakers and first responders gathered at the Exit 5 Rotary on Tuesday afternoon to officially dedicate the overpass as the First Responders Appreciation Overpass.
This is a testament to our community that we are people who value public service, who value our police officers and firefighters and emergency responders, and to really show our appreciation, we must always appreciate them and never take them for granted.
All of us here today know too well, Cape Cod knows too well, the dangers that first responders accept in order to protect and serve our citizens. It is only fitting that they be recognized on a stretch of roadway, considering that it is on our state's roads that our police officers, firefighters, EMTs are so often called to respond to emergencies.
Although we know every day to bring them to mind to the general public as they pass through here of the sacrifices that each and every one of these men and women make every day. It's easy to remember and talk about the ultimate sacrifices, and we should, and it's just and it's right. But each and every day, these officers and firefighters, dispatchers, paramedics, and everybody else sacrifice something to come into work every day. And I just wanted to say thank you to each and every one of them for being there and being that linchpin that keeps everything working together. Thank you.
Kathy Tynan knows firsthand about the dangers faced by our first responders.
My brother is Michael Aselton, who was a patrol officer for the town of Barnstable and who died in the line of duty in March of 1983, 35 years ago this year. My cousin Brian Aselton worked as a summer police officer in Barnstable and then went on to become a patrol officer in East Hartford, Connecticut. He was tragically shot and killed in the line of duty in 1999. Speaking from my heart, I can say a day such as today, a day showing our appreciation of the dedication of men and women who have chosen career fields as first responders, means a great deal.
A special flagpole was also dedicated at the Rotary thanks to the hard work of the Iron Order International Motorcycle Club, Cape Canal crew. They recently adopted Exit 5 under Mass DOT's Adopt a Highway program to ensure the area remains litter-free.
I would like to say to the people of Cape Cod to take care of their towns, to take care of their villages, get involved with keeping the trash and debris off the streets and byways. Let's get back to basics, with helping your neighbor and treating others as you would want to be treated.
The flag was raised for the first time Tuesday.
Working closely with Deputy Chief of Police Stephen Xerios of the Yarmouth Police Department, the idea of putting up a flagpole in the middle of the Rotary was discussed and immediate plans were implemented. Working with Big Nick's Xerios Foundation, funds were raised from the motorcycle events, and the dream for the flagpole became a reality.
And the bikers got to be the first to travel over the newly named bridge. It now stands as a permanent marker to the preparation, training, skills, and bravery exhibited by our first responders. For Cape Media News, I'm Sarah Colvin. Coming up next, we'll meet the new executive director of Friends of Bass River.
good program, and I learned a lot, and I have a lot to work with now, like how I come in like with a blindfold, and now it's gone, so I have more opportunity, I have more ways of doing things, and I learn a lot.
You know, my mentor Lauren, she helped me to dream again, and that was such a huge thing because I had stopped, and she not only kind of gave me a little bit more direction, but she gave me a lot of hope.
So my first experience with We Can, all I can say is holy cow.
Protecting our waterways from nitrogen loading and pollution remains a key issue here on Cape Cod, and the Friends of Bass River are tasked with doing just that. The group formed about a year ago. They're dedicated to education, preservation, and collaboration, all when it comes to Bass River. A new executive director is now on board, and earlier this month, a meet and greet was held at Thurwood Place in Yarmouth. Cape Media News was there.
I came to the Cape as a kid in 1964. I was 10 years old, and my parents brought us here for a vacation. And literally one of the first things we did, my father, my sister, and I, was to go kayaking here, canoeing actually, on the Bass River. And it imprinted with me, and as fate would have it, I ended up marrying a girl that had grown up on the Cape. And for the better part of the last 25 years, I've been involved and lived and invested here in the Cape.
And now Brian Weiner is giving back as the new executive director for the Friends of Bass River, spearheading the organization's mission to educate, collaborate, and preserve Cape Cod's longest river.
I wanted to make certain that the river I found when I was a kid that just mesmerized me would be here for my own kids and my grandchildren and those that came after. And really for all people in a similar place to mine, where you've loved the river and you see it changing. So it's a perfect fit for me. It was something I wanted to do to keep me busy and to help me feel engaged.
Weiner got the chance to mix and mingle with local residents at a breakfast meet and greet held recently at Thurwood Place in Yarmouth. Residents like Tom Barker, whose family has lived along the Bass River for generations.
Since the 1900s, my family's been owners of a property on the river. I am the fourth generation, my daughters and grandchildren, fifth and sixth generation that will be on the river. It's always been a source of enjoyment for us. We've fished and boat and water skied. We've grown up on the river, and it's concerning to the way that it's going right now.
And many others share those concerns. That's why just about a year ago, 3 friends who grew up on the banks of the Bass River founded the Friends of Bass River.
Well, educate and collaborate with individuals, with the towns, with environmental groups to redeem and save the river. I can't talk about this and not say how enthusiastic everybody is. Everybody loves the river. They want to be a part of whatever we do, be it fundraisers or counting horseshoe crabs or picking up along the side of the river. The response has been amazing. We're up to over 400 people who have joined our organization it was in the first 9 months of our existence.
Some of those members were at the recent meet and greet. They shared their stories with the organization's new leader.
I learned from everybody I spoke to, which was the best part of it all. Everyone here has history, and there's nothing more exciting to me than learning from a historical perspective. It's one thing to be a person that just drops into a circumstance. It's a whole nother thing to have lived a huge portion of your life and your family's lives on a river and have watched that transition, watch it change. So that acquired knowledge is invaluable.
As he settles into his new role, Weiner says it's time for him to get to know the river and to continue building support for the Friends.
I need to know the river more personally than I do right now, despite kayaking on it for years. And then secondarily, I want to really engage a consensus. I would like to build a base of supporters of Friends of Bass River so that when our voice is speaking, it means something, it's substantive, and it represents a caring component of the residents that will move the needle.
Brian is here to help us get to the next level where we want to be, where we can actually get some of the things started that will physically help to reverse, or at least not have any get any worse, the issues that the river is experiencing right now.
There's really never been a group where we can express our concerns of what's going on in the river. Whether it's the dredging or the new bridge project or the pollution that might be happening along the river. So this gives us a great opportunity to get together with many people to discuss issues that we have along the river.
We're very enthusiastic. No one doesn't love Bass River that I know of.
Cape Cod is home to many species of wildlife, including coyotes. Gabrielle Rawson reports on a recent event featuring a short film documenting work being done to further protect the species.
Coyotes are living among us on Cape Cod. To raise awareness, the Friends of Cape Wildlife invited the founder of Project Coyote to share 2 award-winning short films promoting compassionate coexistence.
My name's Camilla Fox, and I'm the founder and executive director of Project Coyote, and we're a national nonprofit organization that's based in Northern California. But we are national, have presence all across the East as well. We produced this film called Killing Games, Wildlife in the Crosshairs, basically to educate people about how prevalent these wildlife killing contests are across the country. They're legal in every U.S. state with the exception of California, where we ban the practice, and the film actually shows how we did that in California. One of the aims is to inspire people about what they can do to end the practice.
This past February, a local gun outfitter sponsored a coyote killing contest, sparking controversy. We reached out to the Powderhorn for comment, and they declined.
Coyotes and bobcats and foxes and even wolves are targeted in these contests where the person who kills the most or the largest is awarded sometimes a belt buckle, a rifle, and really it's revealing a much bigger issue, which is that these animals have no protections by our state agencies.
In the state of Massachusetts, there are no limits on how many can be killed. We spoke with coyote expert Dr. John Way to learn more about our local population.
Coyotes that live on Cape Cod are part of the overall kind of population from northeastern North America. It's been found that predators are vitally important to maintaining ecosystem health, reducing populations of pest animals, pest being kind of a human derogative term, of course, but prey animals might be a better way to put it, reducing diseases in ecosystems, actually saving people. Mountain lions are believed to prevent people from dying because they kill deer, which otherwise might kill deer in human car accidents. So the presence of predators is unanimously been found to be important. And unfortunately, the entities, mainly state fish and wildlife organizations managing predators, has taken the exact opposite tack of protecting them. So while we know they're ecologically really important, they're not given many protections at all.
This kind of activity, it does have an impact on the entire pack, and it has a cascading effect on the ecosystem, and that's something we need to be concerned about.
By taking precautions, living safely and comfortably near coyotes is easy.
It's important to realize they're definitely a medium-sized predator living amongst us, whether they're a smaller western coyote or this larger eastern coyote. Regardless of where they are, they're still a predator living amongst us, so we've got to be aware of that. But their relative danger is astonishingly low.
There's a whole variety of ways that we can safely and peacefully coexist with these animals. Right now we're in pupping season, so coyotes are having their young. And it's a time to be a little bit more mindful when we're out recreating with our dogs that coyotes probably have dens with young that they're bringing up. Being mindful also of not intentionally or unintentionally feeding wildlife that could attract unwanted wild animals. And a whole variety of ways of mitigating attractants around our neighborhoods and our specific areas. And I will share that we have a plethora of resources about how we can coexist with animals on our website, which is projectcoyote.org.
Beyond education and outreach, the Friends at Cape Wildlife are encouraging locals to get involved.
The most short-term thing is to get people to reach out to their local and state legislators in order to have them change the laws and have, literature showing that this is supported by the science, that the laws should be changed. And regardless of killing enough animals doesn't make them go extinct, people want them around for other reasons than to just kill them.
I have heard from a number of constituents throughout, not just specifically within my precinct, but throughout the town, so from other villages within the town. There are quite a number of people who have been very vocal about it.
People here care about wildlife. They don't want to see the predators here killed in this wanton, wasteful activity. And I think a lot of people are beginning to see also why they matter, why, whether a black bear or a wolf or a coyote really is beneficial to species diversity and the integrity of healthy functioning ecosystems. We can safely and peacefully coexist with them.
For Cape Media News, I'm Gabrielle Rossum.
Up next, we'll look inside the Chatham Marconi Maritime Center's new exhibit, and later, it's Bay State Bike Week.
This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Remember that to love America is to love all Americans, because love has no labels.
Wireless communication these days means taking your phone out of your pocket and typing a few words to your friends. But did you know that the roots of that technology had its beginnings right here on Cape Cod? David Baker reports on the Marconi Maritime Center's new exhibit, Chatham Heard Round the World.
The Chatham Marconi Maritime Center is celebrating 70 years of rich communication history.
Our newest exhibit this year is entitled Chatham Heard Round the World. All of the equipment in this facility, virtually all of it, was built by RCA for the purpose of ship-to-shore wireless marine telegraphy, so wireless Morse code. The exhibit is marking the 70th anniversary of the inauguration of a high-powered transmitter station that RCA built in South Chatham, in an area that is now the Forest Beach Conservation Area, to replace an older station in Marion, Massachusetts. The station in South Chatham was built following World War II using newer technology and put on the air on February 16, 1948. And one of the big transmitters was preserved when the facility was decommissioned in 1997 for the purpose of being put on display eventually in a museum. So this year we have resurrected that transmitter and reconfigured it for demonstration purposes for the public. The centerpiece of our exhibit, as I said, is one of 17 large transmitters that was in our RCA's South Chatham facility starting in 1948 through 1997. This is an RCA SSB T3 Type H, for those of you who track such things. Fairly large device, a multi-purpose transmitter that was used both in RCA's broadcast industry and in their maritime communications. When an operator was not sending or receiving a message, he would free up the transmitter to send what they called a V-slip, which is like a broadcast message that says, "This is station WCC, we're here, standing by." And that would be done by an automated keyer, if you will, an automated keyer that read a special tape that just had a standing message. Sometimes they'd use it to send weather reports, repetitious things. But in the background, it would send the message that the station is here, WCC is on the air, and waiting traffic.
Many people don't know that Chatham once served as an international communications hub.
This station was manned late in the war by Waves, Navy Waves, and of course the Coast Guard station down the road in Chatham had SPARs, which were their female equivalent corps running a secret Loran station. A lot of people are very surprised that this activity was going on here, all this during the 20th century. They never realized that in a sleepy fishing village here in Chatham and a thriving tourist destination in Chatham, that this commercial facility was here operating all the time. There aren't that many brick buildings on the Cape. It doesn't look like the Cape, but it's been a fixture here for going on 105 years. And it was probably one of the largest industrial facilities in this part of the Cape, certainly in Chatham, for most of the 20th century. So the era that our exhibit this year really represents is the era post-World War II, when RCA was really the premier ship-to-shore station. I should say Chatham Radio WCC, an RCA facility here, was the premier ship-to-shore radio station, literally in the U.S., if not in the world.
You can see for yourself and learn more by visiting the Marconi Maritime Center in Chatham. For Cape Media News, I'm David Baker.
Every May, Massachusetts residents and bike commuters come together to celebrate human-powered two-wheeled transportation during Bay State Bike Week. From Cape Cod to the Berkshires and everywhere in between, bike-centric events are organized to encourage new riders and raise awareness about bicycle transportation. We stopped at the Bike to Work breakfast held this morning at the Cape Cod Regional Transit Authority's Hyannis Transportation Center.
The Bike to Work breakfast is part of Bike Week, and the idea is that we must have commuters that are utilizing our bus system. And as I said, they may be coming from either Lower Cape or Up Cape, may work in Hyannis. They come here to the HTC and may ride their bike to to work.
We are a partner with Massachusetts Department of Transportation to help promote Bay State Bike Week, which is going on as we speak. It's the only statewide bike week in the country, and it's something that trying to promote the use of bicycles as transportation.
The event drew local bike enthusiasts and advocates.
I'm Andrew Maker, and I'm on the board for Cape Cod Cycling Club, and I'm also a board member with Mass Bike and president of the Cape Cod chapter. So Cape Cod Cycling Club is aimed at really bringing anybody and everybody who wants to get on their bike and get out there, and whether it's ride recreationally or learn how to ride or be competitive. It gives a lot of different options for a lot of different cyclists, I think, to enjoy the sport, get to know the Cape better, get to know the roads where they can ride and enjoy it. Mass Bike really is helping to push a legislative agenda and, like you said, advocating for cyclists' rights. We've had a lot of success in Boston and in Cambridge and some of the larger urban centers in Massachusetts, and trying to duplicate that and bring it to other parts of the state. But what we've realized is that we've had a lot of success here on the Cape with the rail trail. And I think that we can really utilize the rail trail as a great vehicle to show the sport, to show the activity, because it touches so many different riders.
Lev Malikoff is a longtime bike commuter.
I have my bike sitting here on the stand that my friend Mike from C Sports is helping take a look at. It's an older bike, but it gets me back and forth. So I do, when I have time and the weather permits, I'll bike to work. It's less than 5 miles each way, so it's not a lot longer than if I were driving. So the time I spend 15 minutes in a car, I could spend 25 on a bike and not have to worry about parking and getting a little fresh air and exercise.
Cape Cod Sea Sports was on hand, providing quick tune-ups.
Hi, I'm Mike Erickson. I work at Sea Sports in Hyannis. I'm a bike technician and lifelong bicycle advocate. Do everything from BMX to mountain bikes to road bikes. Commute to work 1 day a week. Check your tire pressure before every ride. Lube your chain every other. Make sure you wipe everything down. If you have any issues, bring it down to me to get it fixed at the bike shop. Be in tune with it, kind of get out there and enjoy it and pay attention to what your bike's telling you.
We want everyone to be safe. I always say wear your helmet, ride on the right side of the road. If you are not currently biking, but you're in your car, be very careful when you're passing a cyclist. Give them some room, wait till it's safe to go around them.
The RTA provides support for cyclists.
We have our buses that go from all 15 towns, but there are times when you may not be able to connect directly where your final destination is, and so you can use your bike for either the first mile or the last mile, and that's why we have the bike racks on the front of our bike, that our buses that can carry up to 3 bikes.
And while cycling may be good for you and good for the environment, it's also a heck of a lot of fun.
I think it's just the freedom, right? It's being detached from my computer and from my phone, and being able to get out there on 6A at 5:30 in the morning and just have that kind of freedom and feel like I'm 12 years old again.
Bay State Bike Week is celebrated every May here in the state of Massachusetts. For Cape Media News, I'm Sarah Colvin. That's a wrap for this week's edition of Cape Media News. Stay up to date. You can follow us online at capemedia.org, on Facebook and Twitter at Cape Media News. We are Cape Cod's local authentic newscast. I'm Sarah Colvin. This is Cape Media News.